And now for the shared commitments. We value humility, learning from our mistakes, and asking questions to gain deeper understanding. We feel empowered to hold one another accountable, establish boundaries, and ask each other for help. We lean into discomfort by facing challenges and conflict with openness and grace. We stay present by listening actively, being mindful of body language, and participating to the fullest of our ability. We share from our own experience and grow as a team through the inclusion of every individual voice. We prioritize accessibility and are mindful of our language in ensuring belonging for all. And I hope that you all will enter into this with us. I'm going to do some introductions now that we've level set on expectations in terms of the space. I am Anika Tanay. I'm the Director of Grants, Awards, and Programs at WESTAF. And as such, in terms of the Cultural Sustainability Initiative, I provide oversight for our grant programs and in particular, the design and research aspects of that work. One colleague that is not going to be able to be with us tonight is Marcelina Ramirez. She is the coordinator of grants, awards, and programs, and is really juggling all the things and making sure that we keep everything afloat. I can't see participants right now. Josh, are you here yet?
Yes, I am here.
Okay. Over to you. And so just before Josh comes, we thought we would do something unique for tonight, just to open ourselves up in terms of, wow, what brought us joy today? I'm going to be honest, it's been a tough day. So this is from last night when we said we were going to do that to today. I'm going to dig a little deep for this one. And so we're going to ask each of you to share what brings you joy as well. But what brings me joy? Well, you might hear an echo because I am moving, actually just 1/2 mile from my old house to this new house. And yeah, it's exciting to just do something new, challenge myself to arrange the furniture to make it fit and all those things. So I'm going to ask Josh to introduce himself and share what brings him joy today.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Josh Ellis. I'm the Grants and Inclusion Manager at WESTAF. My role specifically in this session will be more behind the scenes facilitation, helping to highlight questions, any other support needed. In terms of the overall program, I was a part of the core team to help solidify the guiding principles and shared national fundamental elements of this program. And also during the session, my camera may be off, but please feel free to use me as a resource, ping me, private message me if you need me. And something that brings me joy, I hate to bring it back to food, but I'm thawing some steaks right now, and Anika knows that I like to marinate steaks, create my own marinade, and just experiment and doing cooking that way. So that's what brings me joy. And I'll pass it back to you, Anika.
Thank you. And I'm going to ask our roundtable facilitator for tonight, Dr. Yvonne Chandonnier, to introduce herself and
Hi,
share what
everyone.
brings her joy.
Thank you, Anika. And thank you, Josh. Hi, everyone. My name is Yvonne, and I am Chief Research Officer for Muse Research. I am a cognitive scientist, and I study creativity, and I really look at the place of the artist in society. I was founding director of research at the Kennedy Center prior to founding Muse. And anyway, I'm thrilled to be here with you. What gives me joy? I picked up my daughter from school today, but before I went to get her, I stopped at a really great French bakery and got some palmier, you know, those elephant ear cookies. They're delicious. So yeah, it's back to food, but please try them if you have not. They are lovely. So thank you. Back to you.
Thank you. All right, that sounds yummy. Okay, so we are going to turn it over to you all. I've dropped in the chat the prompt. I'm going to turn off my screen for a sec so I can see everybody. So our prompts are just share your name, your organization, your role therein, and what brings you joy today. Do I have any volunteers before I have to voluntold?
Sure, I'll go ahead. My name is Nefertiti Bowman. I am the executive director of Solar Contemporary. What brings me joy is that the sun just came out here in Los Angeles. So that is what's bringing me joy, because it's been a very gray past few days. So that is what the joy has brought me. As soon as I logged in for this call, the sun just, I'm like, okay.
Love it. Who's next? Who else has some sunshine? Marissa, I saw you unmute.
Hey everyone, I am Marissa or Marisa. I answer to both. My pronouns are she, her, ella. I am the co-founder and executive artistic director for C-Lab. And what brings me joy, and I'm gonna have to piggyback on that, being in LA, the sun just peeked through my window and I have a deep affinity and connection to the sun. It's part of my recharge. If I can get offline and get 10 minutes to just recharge, it brings me so much joy. And I will pass it to the next person.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joel Yates, co-director and lead artist, ABD Skywatchers. We're coming from San Francisco, California, specifically the Tenderloin. What brings me joy today is I think my higher power put me in an opportunity that I encounter a lot of people that need help navigating different systems, and people need resources for food. But I'm gonna tell you, for the last year, every time someone came and said, I don't have food in the house, I'm working and I can't pay my rent, there's a specific resource only on Thursdays at the hour that they asking is available, that I'm able to offer that to them. It's just by divine intervention, like instantly the resource comes to mind. Say walk 2 blocks and they're giving out food right now as I speak. And so that's what brought me joy today. I was able to get that to somebody.
Thank you for that. Who would like to go next? Yoko, Maritza.
Okay, I'll go. So Kyoko Yoshida, I'm the founding executive director of the US-Japan Cultural Trade Network, in short CTN, and also co-director of Theater of Yugen. What brought me joy is today was the conversation with my younger colleagues. We're really intergenerational team of Japanese women, actually, most of us, and spanning over 35 years, but we really have great teamwork, team spirit. And then in regards to the food, I just picked up obento from Aiden, which is another Japanese women-run business originated to help the 311 earthquake victims in Japan. So, and it was her birthday. So it has so much great energy around that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyoko.
My name is Loida Marisa Perez. I am the founder of Afromundo. And today what brings me joy is simply breathing because we just finished an 8-day international festival in Albuquerque. Long story short, everybody was leaving Sunday morning and over 2,000 flights in the country got canceled. So it took people, they did not get home to Costa Rica, Jamaica, Colombia until Tuesday night. So the stress, and only now am I able to breathe freely. So breathing. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, Ashanti, I don't know if you are able to introduce yourself. Are you available? Okay.
Hi, thank you, Anika. Hi, my name is Ashanti McGee. I'm the Grants and Access Manager for WESTAF. And what brings me joy is just good conversation. So I love when I'm able to just listen to people being authentic and just really being just beautiful. And yeah, so I'm very thankful for that.
Thank you. And I'm just looking over our list for tonight, and I'm not recognizing a few names. Obviously, Audrey, I know that you're here as an observer, and as you all know, we are having a few observers, and so they're just doing that. But Audrey is from the New England Foundation for the Arts, one of our counterpart organizations. So thank you for being here. And Rosalie, do you want to introduce, are you here to observe or are you a participant?
I'm a participant as
Okay.
well. Hi, my name is Rosalie Tucker, pronouns she and they, and I am here as the Executive Director of Peter Performance Space in Los Angeles. What brought me joy today was I actually had time to do a little like stretch movement yoga practice before I started my actual work day, which doesn't always happen, but today it did. And it was just nice. I took 15 minutes to actually like just be in my body a little bit before I jumped onto my computer. So that was lovely today.
Nice, thank you. And Colin is another observer. And Heidi, are you observing tonight? Because I see you as being on our April 30th panel. That said, you're welcome to observe. I just want to make sure. I don't want to put you on the spot. And if you're not able to unmute, that's okay too. We'll keep it moving, okay? All right, did I capture everyone? I believe so. Okay, thank you for that. I'm gonna put my screen back up. And I did things in a little bit of reverse order, but I'm gonna ask Josh if he would share our Zoom norms.
Yes. So please keep your microphone muted when not speaking. That's in the far left corner. Please rename yourself to your first name and city or town and your state or jurisdiction abbreviation. And there's an example right there. Click on participants, hover over your name and click the more button to change. To ask questions or make comments, please use the raise hand function and or write your question in the chat at any time. Click on reactions in the middle of your screen and choose raise hand, or click on chat in the middle of your screen to write your question or comment. And we'll be sure to keep a lookout for those questions and comments too. And live transcripts, closed captions are turned on. You can view or hide them, change the size of them as well as other functions by using the up arrow on live transcript, which is either in the middle of your screen or behind the more button with the 3 dots on the right side of your screen.
Thank you, Josh. And just to quickly cover our session outline, this is super important and exciting for us tonight. This is the second of 5 roundtables that we'll be hosting to ensure that the Cultural Sustainability Initiative, which you'll hear more about and share more on your perspectives about, we want to make sure that it's informed by you, by folks who may apply, who are stakeholders within the region. And so tonight, all of you are California based. I'm hearing Los Angeles, I'm hearing San Francisco. I grew up in Oakland. I'm joining from just outside of Washington, DC tonight. And our goal is to really gather feedback on the program design. We want to learn from your experiences and your perspectives. And so these are our time allocations. We found that it's a little hard to keep to time. So I and Josh will act as timekeepers as we go along once we hand over to Yvonne. I want to just share a few points. I'm sure that all of you did the pre-work and looked at the little video, but I wanted to just kind of level set with some information about this program. So this program was created not just by WESTAF, but in collaboration with the other regional arts organizations and the Wallace Foundation. So the goal is really to support arts organizations, I should say arts and culture organizations led by and serving communities of color. We want to understand how organizations support their own well-being and the well-being of their communities. Who can participate? So this gets to eligibility. It's arts and culture organizations that are either nonprofit or for-profit, and that have budgets under $500,000 or operating expenses under $500,000 with a minimum of 3 years of programming. Organizations must also primarily serve communities of color and be led by people of color. What does the program offer? So there's several components. One area is the grant itself, which will be up to, our plan is up to $34,000, 2 grants per state or jurisdiction across the WESTAF region, which is 16 states and jurisdictions. There will be learning communities, so that will look like sort of subgroups of that. 16 times 2 is 32. Am I right? Yes. So subgroups that would come together for sharing ideas, problem solving, and network building. Through the application process, we'll be finding out what problems folks are looking to solve and kind of group smaller groups accordingly. There'll be, and that all of those activities will largely be virtual, but there will be in-person gatherings that we're calling communities, community of practice retreats. And the purpose is to gather for wellness, for collaboration, for sharing of knowledge around the learning that you've been doing together over the course of this 2-year program. Regular support from us, WESTAF, and various coaches that we may contract to support, just monthly check-ins, how you doing, any support that's needed. And then research largely through Wallace, conducting studies to better understand organizations of color, their needs, and how we as regional arts organizations or intermediaries, as we're called, how do we engage and how do we support you all? Those are some of the study research questions that Wallace is looking at. And so in terms of how folks will be able to apply, there's going to be a 2-part application process for WESTAF. The first part is kind of open to all eligible organizations. We're capturing some basic information, your mission, your vision, your values, who you serve, what that looks like. And then based on the information that comes from that first round, we'll have to invite a smaller group. Those numbers haven't been determined yet at all. But the second invitation, the second part will be more narrative, more qualitative, whereas the first step will be more demographic information and so on. So looking at community impact in the second part of the application, your opportunity to explain how your organization benefits your community and why this program would be helpful for you. Remembering, yes, the financial part, but all the other pieces as well. And so today, we're here because we want your feedback. We want to make the program as beneficial as possible to you, to organizations like you. And so this session will inform the program's design. As Josh mentioned, there's been a core group. He and Audrey, who's also observing here tonight, have been a part of that for several months. And we want stakeholder input. And so that's why we're here today. So with that, I'm going to, again, stop sharing my screen and hand over to Yvonne, who's going to take us through the roundtable.
Thank you, Anika. Hi, everyone. Thank you again for being with us today. I would love to just remind all of us that we're here to learn from each other, and that with your permission, I would love to be able to call on you from time to time just to keep the conversation going, so we can all just benefit from each other's responses about some of these questions. Keep in mind that we recognize that you all come from different sized organizations with different backgrounds, and that's what we're looking for, the beauty and richness and robust, kind of collection of all of you and your experiences today. So special shout out, I'm from LA, so I'm really happy to see you all here, yay. So let's start with this question. Do you feel that the definition of an arts organization of color accurately reflects the organizations you know and work with? Who would like to start?
I'll
And in the
go
chat, you'll see. Sure, thank you. Go ahead,
start.
Marissa.
Yeah, I think that the first thing that came to mind for me is there's a three-part question. Was it founded by a person of color? Is there an executive director and a percentage of leadership at that organization, people of color? What is the demographic of the staff and pay scale? Because historically and systemically, even organizations of color, those people are the lowest paid within the organization. And does that community serve a predominantly community of color?
Okay.
Because what we've found, especially, since COVID in 2020, a lot of the conversations and the action items, it has been skewed in the narrative that we're still, they're still serving, communities of color, but the leadership and the boards continue to be white. So I think it's very, very important to be able to break that up into those categories, and then maybe from there be able to scale a percentage of how that is scored. Scored within the grant application.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Rosalie, Kyoko?
I think I would just, add on or agree with what Marissa was saying. I really think that leadership is the core and one of the most important things, and I think often the piece that gets fuzzy when it comes to this idea of, are we a community of color, but are we also by and for communities of color? Because those two things aren't always the same, obviously. And I think particularly working in nonprofits, there's often this kind of, you spoke to it as well, Marissa. I say it like the ombre effect of like the darker skinned people are working in positions of less power, less access, less finance. And so to really hold organizations accountable, that if they're receiving funding by identifying as primarily people of color, that there are actually leadership positions and that those are consistent. And also a piece that I don't know how to track this, but how long do people stay in their jobs? There's a big conversation I've heard about just the turnover and the rate of not feeling safe, not feeling comfortable, not being able to consistently do this kind of work as people of color. And so I do think looking at organizations as to whether or not they're creating systemic capacity for the organization to be safe for those people, as well as who they're serving, because I think those two things aren't always looked at closely.
Absolutely. Thank you. Kyoko and then Anna Fertitti.
Yes, I had a I think it's already covered. I had the percentage point too. It's one thing to say it on the paper or tick yes, but how do you verify it in a way?
Sure.
So
okay. Thank you. Anna Fertitti and then Joel, please.
I think coming from the perspective of our organization, how I got connected with the organization is I curated an exhibition there. And I was constantly being asked to go to this space that was on Slauson. And there was this perception that the people that worked there, people thought that it was they thought that it was ran by people of color, but it actually was not. And so when I got into the space, I was able to curate this beautiful exhibition. Then they asked me to join the board. I was working in the institutional space, had a full-time position, so I wasn't as seeing what was actually going on internally until I was the face that was reflected to those who were working there, and they felt a safe space, and they came to me.
Okay.
There was something that happened that was not good, and the leader at the time decided that it was best for them to resign.
Okay.
And then the board asked me to take over.
Hmm.
So now, me sitting in a space, being a woman of color, we were on Slauson Boulevard in the corridor and everything like that. But we have since left that physical space because that physical space was not owned by someone who really understood the connection to the community and what needed to be done for the community.
Okay.
And I curated a show and painted the walls black, and she told me that she was in fear because I painted the walls black, they would never go back white. And so from that day forward, I said, okay, we're not in the same alignment, so it's time for us to go. And so I think that was a sense where you thought a space was ran and led by people of color, but it really was not. And needing to, now, needing to change the narrative and really, come forth with a positive understanding to the community for them to feel safe and feel protected by that and what that truly means.
Okay. Thank you for that. Joel, please.
Joel, San Francisco.
Joel, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely need to look at the staff dynamics and
Yes. Okay.
and their language, because their language is really going to speak to who they
Okay.
are as an organization.
Thank you. Definitely. I'm gonna keep going. Is the less than $500,000 operating expense budget limit appropriate for the smaller arts let me start over. Is the less than $500,000 operating expense budget limit appropriate for supporting smaller arts organizations of color in your region? If so, in what ways? And if not, how can this more accurately capture operating expense budget concerns? So what do you think about that amount? Is that the right, way to capture those that are mainly in your region? What do you think about that?
I don't mind starting. I think in Los Angeles, honestly, it's becoming harder and harder to be a functioning small nonprofit without being at or above that $500,000 mark. I think it's true that there are a lot of really essential, very small nonprofits that need to be getting support that are much smaller than 500,000, but I think it depends on if you have a facility or not. That's something I'm recognizing as an organization that does have a facility, previously working in much smaller nonprofits that didn't have, offices. That amount has, that's basically a rent is a quarter of that sometimes. So, there's a lot going on there.
Okay. So that's an interesting criterion, something to think about. So that facility idea, that's interesting. Is anyone else feeling that idea? Like, talk to us about that, and certainly add to what else.
Yeah, I think for us, because we did have a physical space and now we don't. So having had one, and now not having one, it's that
That's
of
interesting. Okay.
and it kind of speaks to how we're able to be sustainable, because when you have a space, you're able to have your exhibitions, you're able to have kind of control of your events, your exhibitions and your activities to be able to raise more funding. And I've seen, since we don't have our physical space anymore, in trying to collaborate or, trying to rent space, trying to rent space in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So I think we have definitely seen, because we left in May of 2022. And so now almost 2 years later, I can definitely see the change with physical space and without.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. Thank you for that. Go, please. And then Marissa, sorry. Yes.
So
Please.
sorry. So just as a reference, Theater of Yugen does have a venue that seats 62 seats. We are renting, but we are still under 250. thousand, and we were just, I was just thinking of this cut. It's hard to, put the number as a threshold, of course, but then
Yeah, it is.
but the conceptually, maybe is this program wanting to support institution or a group in a way? I thought that
Interesting. Okay.
I want the
Okay.
I want not the institutional support,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
the real grassroots support.
So how do you think, if I could ask a little bit more about that,
Mm,
how do you kind of extract the idea of the
Mm.
grassroots support within the context of that budget amount? How do we kind of elicit that response from people? What do you think? Is it a dollar amount that's going to get at that? Or is it
Mhm.
about people you're serving? Is it about the way the organization is structured? What do you think is going to capture that thing you're talking about right now?
I cannot answer right away. I would love for
Yeah,
everyone
sure.
to talk about this if it's okay.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. But one thing though, I was thinking though is that there are small nonprofits like us that
Mhm.
even to go to, I mean, it's so crucial to have that fund to possibly like hire support staff, because
Sure.
otherwise it's always the leaders that are doing more and more and more, and
Right.
then at
Yeah.
some point we just we're out of breath.
Yes.
so so that's just the reality that the tiny nonprofit, two of them that I'm involved
Mhm.
with.
Thank you. Thank you. Marisa, I believe you had your hand up. Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you. I think especially being in Los Angeles, everything costs more money, even from before COVID. So operating expenses have changed. AB5 really impacted us because we worked and contracted a lot of independent artists that we were able to do that. And with AB5, we're having to onboard people as employees. So running the organization is very, very expensive. And we started I've been in arts education for 25 years, but starting the org in 2016, if somebody would have told me, right now we're at $350,000. That sounds like $5 million
Yeah.
starting your organization as a person of color. When you're there, we still only have me as the only full-time employee working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Everyone else, we are hybrid because we can't afford a facility right now. And everyone else is on part-time hours and working multiple jobs, including me, because I still work as an artist, as a director and producer,
Sure.
because I can't afford the organization. I can't afford to pay myself a livable wage as my white counterparts in other nonprofit organizations. So, because we are an equitable organization of people of color, we want to pay everybody a living wage.
Yes.
We're not looking at minimal. So it's this catch-22 of we're trying to grow our revenue, but once we get past 500,000, we lose everything that has supported us to get to this place. And then now we're competing with multi-million-dollar organizations who have full development departments. So there's this in-between gap. So I think 500,000 is something to look at with.
What do you think it should be? Yeah.
I think something between maybe, up to even 600,000, 700, because I think if we push towards 1 million, that's too much. But I think that would be a sweeter spot, because again, we're at 350 and it's nothing, and I'm afraid once we get to 500, which could be in the next 2 years, we're it's a big gap. So I think even thinking about what it costs to run an organization, and our services are no cost to our community. So when we're not charging anything, all of that revenue goes directly to, overhead and our programs.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else have something they'd like to add to this question Otherwise, if you think of something, and again, this is the kind of format where if you think of something later about this topic, please bring it back up again, okay? Next is, are there additional eligibility criteria you think would be beneficial to consider? Additional criteria that we're missing, you know, there's nuance to this work, as you already mentioned, place, audiences served, all these sorts of things, you know, what do you think we're missing in terms of capturing this kind of constellation of things that are important in this decision, you know, about funding? Anything else? Any other criteria? Yes, please, go.
If it was spelled out, I'm sorry, I might have missed it, but the theme of the programs or the purpose of the programs
Okay.
to
Okay.
include advanced social, racial, environmental justice. That
Okay.
it doesn't have to be always, it may not have to be always that, but then I think it should show that
Okay.
we are behind that ongoing
Sure.
purpose.
To identify a theme for what the program is aiming.
Articulate
accomplish.
the purpose and
okay.
the theme of the programs.
Excellent, thank you. Anyone else? Any other criteria that should be considered? Okay, again, if you think of something, please come back.
Something to add, and I
Yes, please.
don't actually recall if this was part of your criteria when I was filling out the survey, but it's something that I know I had to provide for a recent application, which was the sort of differential between leadership and the lowest paid staff in terms of like, what's the difference in pay rate?
Okay.
I think that's actually a really interesting reflection, and it was a really helpful one for me to think about, because there are organizations, whoever they're led by, where that differential really kind of shows you that who's being prioritized and probably also the happiness of the staff and how they're being treated. So I think that's an interesting thing to consider.
Okay. Thank you. And along this line, this may help open up another way of thinking about this. In your opinion, are there any gaps in the program design that could prevent deserving organizations from applying? You know, sometimes our labels of things make it feel too big for a small organization to feel like they can compete. You know what I mean? Sometimes those names can be the barrier. So that's just an example. I'm not saying that that's what's happening here, but anything else you can think of that might be preventing smaller organizations, you know, the mom and pop, the real small ones, from actually showing up for this because they think they can't compete. Please, Kyoko.
Yeah, so I would want the program to accept not just 990, but 990N with financials. And you know, if even if you're below 50, you know, you have to submit the you know, the financial report to the charitable trust. So if those are the you know, official paper,
yes.
I don't want the tiny ones to be excluded.
Okay. Okay. That's excellent. Thank you. Anyone else? Any other thoughts come to mind about that? How do we get those smaller organizations to feel that like they can be here also, that they're very much wanted here in this space? And it could be a narrative thing. It could be the directions or the way it's framed. It doesn't just have to be the organization of the grant itself. It could be about the packaging. You know what I mean? Like, how do we present this so that it does feel accessible?
I think actively networking.
Okay.
Just this opportunity. A lot of smaller organizations spend so much time and just trying to push forth their product and sustain themselves. So, you know, our money for the money, they might not even have that experience.
Right.
We're lucky, like one person on our staff has had a career and part of our sustainment comes through their network.
Okay.
But someone like myself, where my background may not have been in arts professionally, or been an artist, and the other part of what we do is letting folks know that they are artists and they basically have been having a career for their whole lifetime, but may not have that administrative, may not have the language, may not have that formal background and know, you know, okay, that this even is something that they can do for a career.
That's right.
But
So
just how it just trickles down.
Yeah, I appreciate very much what you're saying about this, Joelle. I wonder if there is a place, you know, I'm thinking, of course, email campaigns, whatever. are there certain places where these messages should be placed for people that are heads buried in their work and they're not coming up for air? They're going to miss some of these opportunities. Where else can we place this so that people see it?
I mean, for example, I kind of had experience with this through something that was here in the city, YBCA, Yoruba Bueno Center of Arts. They had grants, but they felt you had to be coming out of a certain area, basically neighborhood in San Francisco. And the lady leading this, because their network went and pulled like bigger arts organizations and went out of the arts sector. And that's when
Okay,
and
interesting.
a lot of the people that, like I said, the smaller artists came from connecting to people outside of the art sector. So using
Okay.
multi-sector partnership to
Okay.
network that.
So
Because
just
like I
blow
said,
it
a lot
out.
of us have other
Yeah.
jobs and work in other sectors.
Okay.
And so we're kind of like star artists, because in other sectors, we're the only artists people know. So
I love that. Okay. That's interesting. We will definitely make note of that. Thank you. Next bank of questions. We're gonna talk. Oh,
I
please.
wanted to add to that just
Please.
because I know this has come up for me. Prior to being an ED, and still now, I do a lot of grant writing for smaller organizations. And I think access to grant writing support is literally something that would be so beneficial and wouldn't cost all that much to pay a consultant, even lead some trainings, offer resources around if you're not prepared, don't feel comfortable or confident, here's like a workshop that you could take or whatever else, particularly for smaller. And I think prioritizing the smaller nonprofits, because I think that's when a lot of them don't apply, but then also don't feel confident in their applications. And then I think you already mentioned offering an opportunity for like a video application, but I think also ensuring that the rubrics for reviewing don't prioritize people who have all of the language skills that we normally associate with like a perfectly written grant, but really are coming from communities that can kind of code switch. I mean, to be really honest, and really have a lot of sort of understanding of different ways things are going to be presented, and aren't ticking back on things like grammar and small things that actually don't speak to the quality of programming necessarily.
Well, I'm going to press a little more on that point. What about other languages? What do you think about that?
Absolutely.
I mean, LA, I'm just thinking, right?
I mean, offering that would be huge. It would be huge. And I think specifically Spanish, of course, in Los Angeles, but there's many, many languages that I think given an opportunity, and that specifically tells people we are actually seeking you to apply. And I think outside of language, directly going into communities of people who are disabled, into queer and trans spaces, and asking people to apply is a very important thing, because people don't, if they don't already know that they are going to be considered, because it's just too much work.
Okay, yeah, agreed. Okay, thank you. And again, if you think of something else, please bring it on back. Next, about the concept of the application process itself. How would a two-part application process, which includes screening and the full application, be the most efficient approach for both applicants and WESTAF? What do you think about that two-part application process? What do you think? Useful? I see you nodding, Kyoko. What do you think?
I do think it's useful, but I think the important thing then is to make the first screen, how do you say?
The first step?
Yes, first have to be really simple.
Okay.
And utilize what's already, we all have, just we can pull from our website or things like that. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so you think it's helpful. Anyone else have a different opinion or agree or?
I think that, and I think this came up in the information video that we got, but that in that process, that the applicant has access to all of the questions that are actually going to be in the application, and specifically any financial or demographic information that's going to be asked.
Okay.
Because we are small organizations.
Yes.
Sometimes like you want to know something about the demographics that we serve. We may not have access and we need time. And sometimes if the first one is really simple and we're like, oh, cool, we have time for this. And then the application comes and we're like, oh, this is just unreal. Like we just don't have the capacity for it.
Okay. What's the best way to message that? I get that. I'm sorry, someone's talking, but one moment about Marissa, how do we, I mean, recognizing that we all have no time to do these things. You're a staff of one. I mean, like, how do we message that? Like, how do we encourage people to take a look at both parts of the application or something to kind of gauge how much time they may need? Like, what's the best way to, I don't know.
I mean, I have found, obviously, information meetings are really valuable because you can ask your questions, but we don't all have time when we're applying for a million grants all within the same time frame of the year. But I think just a frequently asked questions page that is just very clear
Okay. All right.
to like what to look for is always,
and what to expect, kind of like what you were saying earlier.
yeah,
Okay.
and that there is a pretty quick turnaround when sending an email or leaving a phone message for the organization to get your answers so that you know how to proceed forward if you have questions. That open dialogue,
yes,
it's really helpful.
Thank you. And Rosalia, you were going to say something. Were you? I'm sorry. Was it you, Nefertiti? I just saw someone on this side of my screen.
I definitely agree on both ends. I think because as myself, a person of one that does the grant writing as well, and also trying to run the organization, I really loved what Kyoko just said, kind of like the bullets and kind of things that we can just jot down, but then the narrative aspect of it, we're able to have that in advance. And yeah, I think the other aspect would probably just be kind of like the dauntingness of the applications, because I've seen that before. Like some applications can be very daunting, and you're just like, yeah, and then you have to weigh the pros and cons. Is this worth it or is it not? Because as you just said, Marissa, we're literally applying for 6 grants that are all due within like 3 days of each other. So how can we use what we're working with that grant to work for this one and that and so forth?
So I'm going to ask a question about this then. What would
it's me. I just want to, I know that this is really, really great. And I just want to go back to all of this, but starting with Kyoko mentioning like, now I'm just blanking a bit, but like the things that are easy. And then I think it was Rosalie who said, demographic information is not always that easy to get. Like, what are the easy things in your mind? I'm curious if y'all have some consensus around that. What are the easy things to grasp? We are definitely going to provide that part 2 questions at the part 1 phase. So even if someone doesn't get invited back, they know what they're getting into from out the gate. But what is the easy thing? Or, if demographics aren't easy, would it be helpful if we said, give us an estimate in this part 1, and then maybe in part 2 is where you would have had a longer ramp to get the information, is where you give, more exact figures or something? What do y'all think?
And even target audience, if you don't have access yet, and this is a plan for the future, is that a helpful demographic? Who do you plan to
I think when it comes to, especially being a small organization, when it comes to tracking demographics and stuff, drop-down menus are very, very helpful. Because then we're able to specifically answer the demos that you are looking for, and we can answer that when they're open demographic information or something, especially with the target audience. We've been asked, how many of your target audience are on free reduced lunch? We have no idea because we haven't gotten the grant yet. So I think things that are a little bit more tangible, public access information that we can, go in and research is helpful. But definitely, I think when it comes to demographic percentages, estimates and drop-down menus have really helped us.
Do you think it would help to tell people where to find that information? Like in that frequently asked questions, like, school district websites, you can get, free and reduced lunch demographics, like, you know what I mean? Just places to find that kind of answer. Would that be
Yeah,
helpful?
I think that would be really helpful, especially as we talked about in the previous question, when we're looking for to support smaller organizations, that this might be their first opportunity to write, a grant, then those resources would be very, very helpful.
Thank you. Anika, did you have other questions before I keep going?
No, I think that's really good.
Okay.
And if y'all can just kind of continue, if you don't mind, if you think of other things that would be example, like something you could just get off your website that is quantitative, or, what are those resources that are just in your back pocket, easy, beyond like your mission and your vision and things.
And zip code stuff from your county, it's a lot to sift through, but I think if we can somehow tell you, look here, you know what I mean? To get some of those things per zip code in your zones, it might help, I'm just thinking of, anyway. So
Yeah,
we'll think about
and
that.
to add on the demographics, I just thought about this from your question, Anika, is because we're small organizations, right? Sometimes our direct impact is a deepened impact within the community, but our indirect impact of how we're serving the greater community, if we're serving youth, what is that impact on our families, the
That's true.
schools,
Yeah.
and the community at large? Helps show how we can scale and grow as grant recipients. So I think asking about direct and indirect impact
Oh, that's interesting.
can be really, really helpful.
Okay. And defining those terms so people know what that means, right? Isn't that what someone just said in the, okay, yeah. Fantastic, thank you. Anyone else on that? Or feel free to come back to it if you think of something else. I'm gonna go to the next question. What types of information would be most helpful to gather in the first part of the application process to determine eligibility? So think of that first kind of broad sweep of information as a opening, kind of segment. What do you think would be the right thing to ask?
I think it's already said earlier, but just looking at the staff dynamics, who they are and how do they operate.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I don't know if this one does, it doesn't sound like it, but ensuring there's no kind of limitations based on how many full-time staff you have. I think that's a really big barrier to a lot of small arts organizations, especially many of us who work, as I think Marissa mentioned this, we all have other jobs as well in order to survive. So full-time can be a very different thing in order to run our organization. So I don't know if that's a limitation that you all set, but just making sure.
And how to make sure that it's not held against you to have a small staff.
Exactly. Or if the goal is for this to be used to increase the staff, that's a benefit instead of seeing it, a detriment.
Yes, thank you, Kyoko. You had your
kind of in line of what you were just talking about, to maybe have one section in just one sentence. What is the kind of a shortage as opposed, to make it better, and not, again, of course, it shouldn't be penalized for being honest.
Yes. Okay. The shortage. I like that. That's good. Okay. Again, if you think of more answers. Now for the full application, what kind of questions or format would be least burdensome for applicants while still providing WESTAF with the necessary information? Again, the idea here is not a heavy lift, not a lot of burden on you all as grantees, but something that really does offer information to help us, navigate through these applications, but still tell your story most accurately. How do we get to the essence of your organization? What is that question?
I think something I found helpful is, like, for example, when applications require something like a strategic plan, that sometimes they'll provide an example or a template you can use if you don't have, for example, a 5-year strategic plan. I've applied for things where they're like, here's an example and here's a fill-in, here's a form you can use if you don't have one designed already as an organization. So I think as much as possible, providing kind of templates is a really helpful thing, and kind of fill in, or, even like finish the sentence sort of format because you want specific information,
Sure.
and that'll help folks, I think, feel like they can keep it really focused.
Okay, thank you. I see people nodding. Would you like to add to that response? Anything come to mind in particular?
Yeah, I think options for each question because, we have a strong community storytelling short video.
Mhm.
And just being able to, tell us about your organization, being able to link that rather
Okay,
than have to spend the time rewriting a whole
in the
narrative.
application. Okay,
Yeah, would be helpful. I am all for shorter responses,
Mhm.
to answers, but sometimes we spend most of our time wordsmithing, word counting, and
Yeah.
character counting.
So
And
let me ask you this. If you submit a video in response to a question and there's like 2 minutes of that video that answers the question, but the rest doesn't, what is it, you know what I mean? Like, how do you, as the applicant, tease out that portion so that,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? How do
Yeah,
you?
maybe then, thank you for that. If that we are allowed to add supplemental information. So maybe if it's not
Yeah.
in the question, but if we
Okay.
have anything that could further inform, the work that we're doing within our organization and the
Right.
community, that could
Or
be.
even say what segment of this video answers this question.
Yeah.
I'm all about like offering different ways of doing that, but just say where it is so that someone doesn't have to go through a 20-minute video to get to that, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, but I think that's
Yeah.
really helpful.
Sure.
And with the again with the questions, as this is being reformatted, for the team to really think about it as the on the applicant side, because there have been grants that we've applied for year and year, and I was like, I don't think anybody's looked at these questions in like 5 or 10 years because
Okay. They seem out of
they're-
touch or
yeah,
something?
or they'll ask multiple questions within one question and give you 250 words
Oh, okay.
to answer it. So being
Interesting.
really mindful of like, does
What
this
you're
really
asking.
make sense? It's like, for the in-depth question that, they're asking.
Okay.
And also,
good
just to
feedback.
piggyback off of
Yes,
that, is that the questions, what I've been seeing with grants too, is that make the question very direct. Because I think a lot of the questions, you would read it and you're like, okay, what are they really asking? So I think making those questions very direct,
Okay.
so there's no second guessing or,
Okay.
you thinking that, okay, well, maybe they're asking this, but I'm not really sure. And that's what I've been seeing with grants. It's like they want you to it's like the gray area questions when you're like, okay, let's just do black or white,
Right. Okay. Okay. Fair. Okay. Thank you. Kyoko, you had a question or you put in the chat, you're good? You're on mute. Sorry.
I just typed something up around the videos.
Okay.
Being a ESL myself,
Excellent.
it's kind of a challenge.
Yeah. Yes, yes. No, that's a really important point. Absolutely. Thank you for that. So would alternative application methods, this speaks to your point already, such as video essays or interviews, be helpful for organizations with limited resources? If so, what categories should a rubric and instructions for the video essay or interview include so that organizations can submit material that addresses areas that will be evaluated? So you touched on this a little bit, but what do you think about that specifically? Like, let's go a little further into that idea. If it is video, how would we create a rubric to evaluate that? So that it's fair and equitable. Absolutely.
I mean, possibly having another roundtable, that's specific to the rubric.
Okay.
To figure out what the scoring system, I mean, and that's the thing, because if we're looking at giving this opportunity to multilingual individuals, writing that right off the bat could take them out of the opportunity because they don't have a mastery of the English language to write this in a way that they feel confident in. So I think being able to talk about what they're doing, making sure that we have multilingual people holding the interviews, I think is really important as well. As far as the rubric goes, I don't have an answer for that right now, but I think it's a great question.
Okay.
I think with the rubric, that's a huge, huge piece of it, because I've definitely been on grant panels before where I realized that regardless of who was present, our rubric was very, I mean, I'll be direct, racist and or classist or whatever. So the amount of credit being given to things, you know, was like looking at budgets with as much weight as narratives. And I'm like, well, come on, let's be careful here, you know? So I think, I don't have an answer to that, but I think making sure that the rubric creation process includes a very diverse and very like conscientious and thoughtful review panel, maybe like this one or something similar, like you said.
Okay. So I'm gonna.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
And when we come to the end of this section that you're in, Yvonne, we'll just take a 5-minute breather.
Sure.
Y'all are just really amazing, and thank you so much. So much gratitude for these responses. I want to panel, and you know, the racism, the institutionalization of that whole process and rubricing, making a board. But what are y'all thoughts about it? About, you know, we have an artist fund that we do not use panels. We have application reviewers, at least 3 reviewers per application. You know, we're coming from a space of everybody has an A, so to speak. Everybody's awesome. That's not the issue. The issue is, yes, how is that articulated? How is your awesomeness articulated in a way that folks can, you know, just understand what it is that you're saying? And then, you know, in a plain, concise way or whatever it is. But then we're really looking at the spread. We're really looking at how do we make sure we're representative of various intersectionalities and so on. So is a panel helpful? What are maybe some of the pros and cons that you see of a panel that actually, when I say now panel, a group of people that actually meet and then, you know, advocate for or whatever, dissect things that people have said to the point of the budget? I'm not a proponent of having panels really dissect budgets because, you know, we again have to look at that spread, particularly in our region. So I don't mean to be front loading it like I have the answer already, but I certainly have an opinion and I'd love to know what y'all think. Thank you.
I'm not sure I totally understand what you're asking. Can you clarify? You're asking if we think a panel is a good idea or not? Is that what you're trying to ask?
Yeah, like not so much good idea, but what are some of the sort of pros and cons of having a panel process where, you know, various biases, well, let me not say that. Having a panel process where people are meeting together to talk about the application, or an individual process where an application is reviewed by a different, you know, a diverse group of different people individually. All that feedback comes up to the organization, including comments. You know, so is there any pro or con? Do you value the panel process? Is there any hindrances that you see there? Either way. Is that helpful?
I'm going to give an example. So in the animal care and use industry, they have what's called an IACUC. This is a committee that's comprised of a scientist, a minister, a lawyer, like a community member, but they're a bunch of different people, but they decide whether the use of that animal in that experiment is ethical. And what's interesting about that is because you have all these very different perspectives, but it is all about advancing science. And you have the perspectives of non-scientists, you know? So, and Anika, please tell me if this is not going in the right direction, but I am thinking about, you know, the idea of who should comprise that panel to be able to determine whether or not what's happening in the community is being adequately or beautifully or whatever addressed, right? The way that you are expecting it to, according to the rubric you're creating. So how do we populate that panel in a way that does represent the voices that need to be heard in order to determine whether or not that application is going to cover that spread that Anika is talking about? You know, if we have all these different slots we need to fill in terms of covering our diverse, you know, LA, how do we populate that panel to make sure that it really is happening? You know, that's something to think about. I don't know that we have the answer to that right now, but it's something to think about.
I think one thing I will say is it was helpful for me when I was on this. I'm thinking of a particular grant panel I was on, which was for a city close to LA. And it made me aware of how unfair the decision-making process was, which then made me feel very strongly about pushing back. And so I took it really seriously. I didn't know, I was given all this stuff to review in advance. And then when I got to the panel, I was like, things off here, you know, and that was helpful. I think it was good for it to not be kind of hidden, because then they couldn't say we have a diverse panel.
Right.
And it wasn't really. They did have people representing diversity, but none of us were in positions of power to actually change anything that was going on. So it was very obvious once that happened. We were like, oh, we're being used as representatives. We're not being given decision-making power here. So I think in that sense, it is meaningful to have people's faces attached to, like, we should know who's making these decisions, but I don't know if that is what you're thinking of.
I don't have an answer. I'm just, you know, want to hear from you all.
So Rosalie, I hear you leaning in on the transparency, which I appreciate. For this particular program, all the reviewers will be Black, Indigenous, and people of color. I can tell you that, without them having been selected at all. And so, and we always share their bios and all of those things. But I think, and I'm going to move on, but if you think about it, any of this further, I'd appreciate any feedback. Because to Yvonne's point, you know, as representative as we're trying to be, can a small panel lend itself to that? Which she just mentioned LA, but let's talk about California as a whole. You know, these are some of the challenges that we always have in our expansive region. So thank you for indulging that.
And is it time for break now, folks? Let's take how many minutes? 5?
Yes, 5 minutes.
All right. We'll see you back here in 5.
Thank you.
you.
All right, if everybody can start heading back now so we can get restarted.
All right, folks, I'm gonna go ahead and jump right in. We're gonna talk about technical assistance and support, please. So what are the most pressing capacity building needs you see among arts organizations of color in your region? Let's just think of the top three. I mean, we know there are an abundant number. So let's talk about the top three most pressing capacity building needs you see among arts organizations of color in your region.
I think for me, I mean, in our own organization, but with, you know, the other organizations that we work with, is executive burnout of people of color. We are working with an hierarchy, even if our organizations are BIPOC led, of still, you know, unequitable, unequitable, sometimes racist, old structures, right? And many of us have gratefully survived COVID, and we're exhausted.
Yes.
Absolutely exhausted. We're overtaxed. We're exhausted. We're trying to hold safe spaces for our staff and the communities that we serve, but there isn't a lot of support for us as executives, for our mental health, for equity pay, and just to take I haven't taken 2 days off in a row in 5 years.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. Anyone else?
This came up at a panel or a session I was at recently for grantees who'd received funding from the LA Arts Recovery Fund, which was a cool opportunity. And something that was shared by a lot of folks is that we really need to start receiving multi-year funding so that we can take a little bit of that pressure off. It's very hard to scale anything in 1 year. And I think even, you know, 3 to 5 years is realistically the time frame that most of us need to be able to start seeing an impact of having that resourcing.
Thank you. Very valuable. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yes, I was going to say the same, just financial support to build that sustainable infrastructure for ourselves.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? And again, feel free to come back if you think of more responses. How would a combination of cohort learning sessions, networking opportunities, and professional development resources be most valuable to potential grantees? And again, it's in the chat. How would a combination of these things, cohort learning sessions, networking opportunities, and professional development resources, be most valuable to potential grantees? Yes, please, Kyoko.
So yeah, sorry to go back on one before, but in order to make like the number 10 work, you know, we need, I think small organizations, we need funds to really hire a support staff. It's kind of related to what Marisa was talking about, the executive burnout, that, you know, we do so much and we don't want the number 10 to be a burden, but it could be because unless you have a added support resource, because that time and energy would be taken from what we have to do on a daily basis. So not directly answering Tim, but just wanted.
Okay, totally fine. Thank you. Anyone else? Please, Rosalie.
Something that makes me think about too is like this is sort of an answer, and I'm just kind of putting it out there because I had a conversation recently with another small arts nonprofit about how do we start to combine our resources so that we're not all doing everything ourselves. Like
Yes.
they're working on strategic planning. And I was like, wow, I'd love for you to just talk to my organization about this so we don't have to hire our own strategic
Right.
planner.
Yes.
And they were like, oh, we'd love to. So I think opportunities for us to share the
Okay.
best practices that we have
Sure.
developed with each other is a really
Mhm.
big piece of that. And also to like, you know, have shared HR resources, whatever it is, those things that we don't really have,
Mhm.
but that if we could just invest a little bit of our time or a little bit of our money and have one person who could work with multiple small organizations, those are the kinds of things that I think even learning if that's a possibility or how that would function would be so helpful.
Wonderful. Thank
Yeah.
you. I see a lot of nods, so.
I agree. I think
Yes.
creative exchange and community resource sharing is key because I think that builds the cooperative economics around the work that we're doing and
Yes.
understanding the the power that we have when we work together. Because I think what I'm seeing, especially here in Los Angeles, there's this sense that there only could be one of us that actually gets that major grant, or there only could be, you know, so there's this. And it's like, no, let's have a
Right.
group grant writing session together. Let's help each
Right.
other write
Yeah.
these grants, you know, like let's do it together because if you get it, I'm going to cheer you on, you know, and then learn from what, you know, so I think that's the thing is like, we need to have that more of a group community aspect because
Okay.
there's this fear that we can all have the opportunity to receive. And I think that is a lot of the situations. I know there was one grant recently that you couldn't have. I think a lot of people were like, oh, well, I can't apply because yeah, my operating budget was like 250 or 3 last year, but this year I don't meet their 170. So it's like you have to have 170 or above.
Okay.
Now, and so it's like, but I had this last year, but this is the reason
Right.
why we're not here
Okay.
anymore. So these type of
Sure.
things too
Absolutely.
are things that we can talk about. But I think these type of resources will be helpful. But I think a thing of how they can be helpful and not burdensome would be that asking the questions of what do we actually need
Yeah.
support and to ensure that we're providing, we're at the seat of the table of telling you what we need.
Okay.
So there can be collective understanding within that.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'm going to go to the next one again. If you think of something, what topics or skill sets would be most beneficial to cover in the technical assistance component? So think about those meetings where most frequently asked questions or technical assistance, you know, what skill sets would be most beneficial to cover? Think of your smaller arts organizations. What would be helpful to them?
I think probably what I'm thinking about is maybe the portal of wherever the grant is living, making sure the portal is user friendly.
Okay.
Because sometimes a lot of these portals, especially with the county portals,
Yeah.
they ain't changed that since the 1960s.
Yeah.
You know, so like a lot of these portals can be a little bit inundated. They may have, you know, certain things maybe not right, or you want to upload something and then the format is not there, but you have the right format, but it's still not working. So I think from a technicality perspective, whatever the portal is, making sure that the back end things have been done to ensure that there's not a lot of, you know, technical issues and things of that nature.
Sure. Thank you. Yes.
The technical part of it too. We've had grants that you can't move on until you've answered the first page.
Right.
And sometimes if we have multiple people working on things, somebody might have their small window to upload their part of the thing and we can't get to it because we haven't had the time to do all the narrative stuff. So being able to jump around within the populated, I think would be helpful. And I just had a thought about what you had previously said about the capacity building needs. With what Rosalie said about multi-year, also increasing non-discretionary operating funds. It can't just be tied to like something that's programmatic that we have to account for every single way of how we're spending it. Most of us, it's our staffing. So multi-year, non-discretionary to do what, not just to grow, but to do what we're already doing in a sustainable deeper process I think is really valuable and important.
Okay, thank you.
I recently went to a budget writing workshop
Yes.
that was awesome, and I loved it because it was a basics, and the majority of people there were leaders who said the same thing I said. I never got to learn the basics, so I've been just thrown into the fire, kind of. And I think things like that, I don't know if that falls into technical assistance
Of course,
exactly,
yes,
but I
absolutely.
think that's really helpful of not, sorry, there's some sound behind me, but not assuming that everyone has the same basics, and also providing people opportunities to just scale up, learn how to build these cash flows and all these things that are essential for future planning, but also probably important for the granting, you know, for the grant review process.
What about cross training? I mean, I'm thinking of smaller organizations, small arts organizations. I know of some now that actually the marketing person works in the programming department. You know, they, you know, that's for larger, but I mean, for smaller arts organizations, that's all they're doing is cross training anyway, because everyone's doing everything.
We're doing everything.
So how about, how important is it for the technical assistance to be tailored to the specific needs of each participating organization? How important is it for the technical assistance to be tailored to the specific needs of each participating organization? Or do you see it more about these kind of, you know, broader categories of groupings? Or does it have to be nuanced for very, you know, especially the smaller arts organizations? Yes, Kyoko, you have a...
Yeah, I think it's very important actually, because not just language, but there are different cultures and you know, histories. It is we are very diverse, and you know, one cookie cutter approach will not work. I do love the cohort learning, but you know, I think it's a combination. We do have to have this one-on-one consulting time if possible to that's what I think.
Excellent. Thank you. Anyone else have thoughts on this topic? Okay, I'm going to go to the next section, which is impact and sustainability. In your view, what are the biggest challenges or the top 3 challenges that arts organizations of color face in achieving long-term sustainability? Top 3 biggest challenges in achieving long-term sustainability. What do you think? I know that's a big question.
And we said this last night too, just the obvious is obviously financial, right? So beyond that, or in addition to that, would you say?
I would probably say healthcare.
Okay.
Because a lot of our organizations can't provide healthcare and also pay, because if you're not paying a livable wage and then also healthcare part of that, a lot of organizations don't have payroll, you know, don't have the funds to be able to be on payroll. So that is something that I think is important, that are one of the problems. But yeah, like I think healthcare, because like just we need healthcare. I think that, and then our artists too, like because they're full-time artists, so then they're coming to us. You know, I had an artist that yeah, like it's a lot. It's a lot. If they get hurt, then they're coming to you for resources to support them. But it's like, we don't have insurance ourselves, but okay, I'm gonna help you find a grant that's gonna help you pay for, you know, emergency healthcare, all these different type of things like that. But yeah, I think healthcare is probably one of the other major things outside of funding that I'm seeing as a major issue is having healthcare for our staff, the artists, ourselves.
And you know, that makes me think about what you said earlier, or one of you said earlier about, you know, just the longevity of staff, like how long they have to stay because they have to, you know, look for these resources elsewhere. So
exactly,
I think that speaks to that as well. Anyone else?
I think opportunities to slow down, like we're talking about this a lot, but slow down and like make plans for the future and build out kind of visions with realistic goals that are tied to, okay, here are the funding sources that could be existing. It's not just about the funding, it's about knowing how to use it. and how
Yes.
to use it in a
Okay.
way that's going to invest in the future of your
That's interesting.
organization.
Okay. So what kind of, is that a coaching session? Is that a, what do you think? What is that? Is that a, how do you see that
I
coming?
mean, I think it's strategic planning with people
Okay.
who have done it and know, and that's very unique and specific to every organization, right? And once we have that, we can articulate things that makes us find funders more easily. There's a lot of different reasons why just that knowledge and that plan can help us really do a lot.
Okay. Thank you.
I would add executive coaching.
Okay.
Many of us have never done this level of work before because the organizations that we have left didn't provide this type of leadership opportunity. So we left to start our, to start our own. And we're always use the analogy, we're building the car, as we're driving it. But like you were talking about, Rosalie, about, getting the place just to kind of stabilize and not have to keep building and growing because that's what, grants and donors are expecting. So is it okay to take a year to say, hey, guess what? This is our capacity because this is serve effectively, to make sure that the leadership doesn't burn out, to make sure that there isn't, a lot of turnover and that we're doing quality work.
Right. Right.
I
Thank
think
you. Yes,
one other
please.
thing I want to mention, I think, we're in 2024, but like we were in a pandemic,
Yes.
so like thinking about that collective burnout and what life really actually looks like for organizations like ours, and then also for our counterparts who actually did not sustain, who had to sunset. So what does that look like? And so giving ourselves grace, having that sense of understanding of having that moment to breathe, to take a break, to have that rest, to be able to reimagine, how we want to move forward. But then I feel like we've been on this collective burnout and on this hamster wheel. We have an election year, we have this going on, we're trying to do this, we're trying to do that, but everybody's on this approach of we have to ascend to this because if we take a break, then our organization is not going to be seen, or it's not going to be respected anymore. It's not going to be, it's this
Gonna
thing.
miss something. Yeah.
You're going to miss something. And so how can we not have to be, and I think because we're in this age of social media and all of these things as well. But we have to really give ourselves grace. Like we have counterparts that didn't make it, and we have the opportunity to be here, to be on this roundtable right now, to be able to have these conversations. And I don't think that we had a time to really even reflect on what we just all collectively went through. Every industry, everybody in the world went through something. There was a lot of loss, there was a lot of heartache, there was a lot of, it was a lot of additional trauma on top of the trauma of being a cultural, Black-led, Indigenous-led, institution of color. So how do we have that moment to think about? Because I don't think we really, sometimes we are like, people are like, what do you need? And you're like, ooh, so yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much. All right, next question. Beyond financial support, what other resources or initiatives would be helpful for ensuring the long-term success of arts organizations of color? Are there certain categories, certain types of training? Like what do you think? Beyond financial support, what other resources or initiatives would be helpful for ensuring the long-term success of arts organizations of color?
I think professional development, for our teams, for our staff, things that, content or refreshers, definitely the leadership coaches for the EDs, being able to have like a collective retreat, for us to be able to come and, that's just, it doesn't have to do anything, but maybe it's about wellness, wellness training, whether it's yoga or mindfulness or whatever it is, for us to just to be able to just be and really just to have a salon style conversation with each other and kind of vent, about the things that are going on and how we can be of support to each other. But also I think the professional development is necessary and needed, especially for our team. And then also to you know, looking at what our artists need, that you know, the creatives and artists in the community that we serve, and you know, how we're collectively responding to their needs as well, that will then help us to show up for them, you
Yes.
know, whole.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Yes, Kyoko.
Yeah, I also think the kind of the education for board opportunity may be good too, because
Excellent.
sometimes, you know, with 100% you know, good heart,
Mhm.
they came in, but their style or mentality is kind of corporate, and then it just doesn't align well, or like, you know, because he or she or they think just about our organization, don't understand like networking or you know, cohort or sharing. So but it's hard for you know, staff, even we serve on the board to
Sure.
kind of, you know, educate or tell the board president, for example.
Mhm. Right? Thank you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anyone else on that topic? Yes.
Yeah,
Marissa,
I
you look
think
like you're gonna say.
besides yes to all of this, but providing funding for rest, you know, because even all of these get-togethers and PD and all of these different things, it's still work. And many BIPOC-led organizations, you know, are led by visionaries, people that said, you know what, we're going to create something where there is nothing. And I heard this quote the other day, and it said, in order to dream, we got to sleep.
Yes, that's right.
So many of us, when we talk about the burnout, and we're very fortunate that our organizations, you know, survived COVID, because many didn't. But there's also an extra burden of
Absolutely right.
to be able to
Yes.
do that.
Mhm.
So I think being able to provide an honorarium for leaders, even if it's a week, because I can't afford to take a week off work unpaid, you know, so being able to do that so that we're sustainable, because I hear it all the time. They're like, Marissa, if you go down, like, we're
What
done.
are we gonna do?
And
Yeah.
that's a lot of pressure. My
Yes.
mom passed away
I'm so sorry.
this past year, and I could not take any grievance because it was
I'm so
in the
sorry.
middle of grant. It was this time last year. We were writing grants,
Mm.
people's livelihoods, the way they feed their families and are dedicated to our organization was on my shoulders. So I think, you know, providing honorariums for that, not more, but less, for us to regroup and recharge, and being able to dream about what the next part of
Yes.
valuable work that we do looks like.
Thank you for that.
Can I
Yeah.
just ask Marisa, sorry, Joelle, Marisa, if you had a week off and that sort of week sabbatical, so to speak, would you take it if we said, yeah, we're going to cover your salary? Would you take that week off?
I'm going to answer that in yes, because now, being a year after, I see the negative effects that it's had on me that I didn't take. The second part is, we would need non-discretionary operational funding to pay someone to be able to do the responsibilities that I have within the organization, so that there isn't such a big gap. So in order to say yes to that, I would need to be able to pay somebody to take over those responsibilities.
So that when you come back, it's not like you know, never left and are just stressed out. Thank you. Sorry, Joelle. Thank you.
For that question, yes.
Yeah, I'm just thinking in terms of time, you know, a lot is centered around our granting the life of the grant. What is the life of the grant built upon? It's built on fiscal year, built on accounting, built on money, but all this is supposed to be built on people.
Mhm.
And you know, people can't be constricted to time. And so we get a rest, but how much time are we giving for the actual building?
Mm.
Because from that building, that's where the art comes from.
Mhm.
And, you know, we have certain deliverables. Okay, so we want the end result, but how much is really put in weight as far as like the actual process. And if for organizations, that could be at least 3 years. But what for an organization that takes them actually 7 years
Mhm.
to actually be respected by the community? The community I live,
That's
I've been
true.
living here 15 years. I say after 8 years, you become a visitor. You know, I said maybe in 15 years, okay, he lives here. And, you know, after a decade and I have another kid, they say, oh, he's from the neighborhood. You know, it's actually,
Mhm.
you know, say you want to serve the people, but
Mhm.
what is these people's timeline?
That's
You
right.
know, their language, their concept of time, because that's really going to determine what this art is going to look like.
Mhm.
And then, you know, in the process of having to build up the organizations, you know, that mentorship, that's where you can look at what is your history. And, you know, okay, maybe you need more time, but maybe you also need a little more information, but it's the time and the information. Take that into account.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, next, well, someone looked like they were going to talk. I'm just going to keep going. So do you think the program timeline, and you just talked about this, Joelle, applications, deadlines, grant disbursement, etc., is realistic and allows for effective implementation? How could it be improved? Something need to stretch? Does something need to be longer, shorter? What do you think? How could it be better?
I have a question on that because when I looked at that, I saw the date of the notifications, but there wasn't a date, or unless it's the same timeline of when the funds are allocated.
Anika, do you want to?
So, yeah, yep. So the funds would be allocated between the end of September and the beginning of October. Right now we have a charge from the court committee that a large, you know, there's conversations about, is it a one-time payment? Is it 2 payments? What is it? But we know that we've been charged that a large portion of the payment be the first payment. So yeah, so that's the at the very least the initial. And then the program in terms of like the quarterlies and that are meant to start in November. And you know, then we have the monthly check-ins. We'd be looking at, you know, 2 in-person of these retreats that I mentioned. And so it's like a 2-year program. Starting from like,
I'm sorry.
you know, November.
I guess my question, and when we're looking at the timeline, is in the payment, because if we get additional funding to increase staffing, right? It could possibly, if people are working with a smaller budget, we're increasing our staffing, but depending on when the second payment comes in, it may become a cash flow issue. Not because we've increased our staffing and our budget, but if we wait too far down the line for that funding, we know it's coming, but there may be a cash flow issue sooner than later. And if a small organization is working under 500, but you know, even if it's 80,000 or 100,000, that could be something that could be needs to kind of be considered.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, next question about community collaboration and feedback. All 6 of the U.S. regional arts organizations will run this program in their respective regions. What could be the best way to foster opportunities for collaboration between the arts organizations of color in different states, jurisdictions, regions throughout the program? Kyoko, you look like you want to say something.
Sorry, just so it was to my colleague.
That's okay. That's okay.
But
so what do you think about the ways to foster collaboration? Yes.
Well, I actually CTN originated with Art in the West, so I'm I very familiar with RAOs and appreciate it. But because we are so diverse and far apart, realistically, I was thinking like a one online kind of like a conference for this program. Because there are so many things going on. And then maybe an option for each other, well, option for those grantees to check in with each other. I mean, freely. I don't know. I mean, maybe somehow it's a, I don't know, it's a Google Doc or some portal, so that you know, you get to see how everyone else, you know, the other grantees are doing in different regions or something like that. Sorry, it's not very shaped up.
No, I get it. Okay, thank you for that. Rosalie?
Something I think a lot about is sort of what do we each need that maybe the other organizations might have? I mean, for example, I'm an organization, we have a beautiful space, and while I can say out loud we'd love to collaborate with other organizations who want to use our space, the opportunity to actually like sit down and know what they need and kind of just like basically like take surveys of like, well, what is it that you offer and what might be supported, so that it's not just networking, but actually like building collaborative, creative spaces together. Because I think that's sometimes the challenge. Just talking to each other about what we want is one thing, but actually building and doing activities together. And then also funding to do that, so that if we have created those collaborations through this cohort or whatever, that we actually have resources to say, all right, well, now I'm going to work with your teaching artists because I have a program that could use them really, really well.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
We've got about 13 minutes left. And so I just want to put a nod to that, so that you're, Yvonne, looking at your questions, and then we'll just need a second or two, you know, a couple minutes at the end just to close out. I'm sorry, I wasn't looking down. I'm driving. When at the last question, would that type of collaboration be just as useful if it was regional or national, or would it be more useful if it was localized, for what you were just talking about? I'm not sure if it was Rosalie.
It was Rosalie.
Yeah, I think it could. I think in terms of use of space might be easier when it comes to like local, but I love the opportunities to make those kind of national connections. And it's very difficult when you work in a small organization. I've previously worked for larger nonprofits that were not lovely in other ways, but I could go to conferences, and being able to meet colleagues in different cities doing very different things was really helpful, because it also showed me ways we don't do things in Los Angeles that I want to try and replicate. So I think a little bit of both is actually meaningful, because we're in a silo often as cities, and other cities, other countries even, are doing very unique and cool things that we could engage with.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I would definitely second that. I've had the opportunity to go to Baltimore, and, you know, just came back from Chicago from Art Expo, and just the traveling and just seeing the different, especially like when LA silo, like that is so true. And so just seeing the different things that the communities and different spaces are doing. And I think like a city like Baltimore, that is a very vulnerable city, that is a predominantly Black city, that, you know, the community there, when it comes to the arts and the sharing, that it really allowed me to see things from a different perspective, but to see, because of when people think about Los Angeles, they think this glitz and glamour and like, oh my goodness, you know, and so they're like, oh, we want to do a show with you. We want to come to Los Angeles. And I'm like, you know, but I definitely would love I'm loving that aspect of being able to, you know, creatively exchange across, you know, from a global perspective, but then also locally, and then having that opportunity to really hone in on really authentic and integral relationship building, because I think that is what's key and that's what's needed to understand that we're on the same page in alignment.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. What mechanisms would you find would you find most useful for providing feedback on the program design and implementation throughout the duration? What's the best way to get that information, you think? So it's in real time. It provides the ability to course correct if need be. You know, like that's tricky. So what's the best way to get that kind of feedback, do you think?
I would say just an online portal to
Okay,
drop information in, but also during the check-in, when doing the check-ins,
sure.
just
Okay.
make that just a big key part of that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, may I also,
Please, yes.
yeah, definitely. And you know, we do Zoom video so much. I think sometimes phone is
Yeah, that's good.
you know.
Good.
So yeah, just
Okay.
to add.
A phone call, yes. All right. How can West staff ensure transparency and clear communication with all stakeholders involved in the program? What do you need from West staff in terms of transparency? How can that be transparent? What do you need to hear?
I think y'all are doing a pretty great job, I'll be honest. I don't have a ton of feedback about transparency. I think even being honest about how many folks will be receiving a grant in each area, that's a big one, which we don't always know. So just to know how likely we are, but maybe even knowing how many applicants are applying for things so that when we actually are in the running, we just have a better sense.
Sure. Okay. And then how are you addressing your community's needs and interests through your work? And how has the community support directly contributed to your organization's success? That's a big question. So how are you addressing your community's needs and interests through your work? And you don't feel overwhelmed by that question. It's a big question, but it is about, think of the smaller things. How do you begin that process? How do you know that you've accomplished it? How do you, what kind of feedback are you getting so that you know you did that?
Yeah, I
That
think
might be a place to start.
our 4Cs are to create, communicate, collaborate, to build community.
Okay.
Our program is culturally responsive. Stakeholders have input into what we're doing and where we need to pivot and deepen our work. So for us, we believe that people support what they help create.
Okay.
Providing programs for the community, we're providing programming with the community. And we do a lot of our events are free to the public, so we get comment cards, we do video testimonials, and everything finishes with a dialogue discussion about experience, what they appreciated. So it's just an ongoing in that way. So
Okay. Thank you. Yes.
I think we provide an extremely safe space with
Mm-hmm.
no mandates of anything.
Okay.
Our agreements provide opportunity for a person to decide for themselves, how they want to continue to be safe.
Okay.
And sometimes that may mean leaving. I'm like, okay, you go. We gotta say, once you're with us, you're always a part of us, whether from afar or close. And because of that, different community partners and groups in our community are always sending folks to us. They even say, I don't know what they do, but it's working.
Okay.
And we appreciate it and we see it. And we don't have our own physical space. And so the community continues to provide that. And sometimes it's hours before a meeting, but we're always somewhere secure.
Wonderful. Thank you. And our last question. Is there any additional information you would like to share about the needs of arts organizations of color in your region? Anything else you'd like to share? And this doesn't mean you can't share later, so it's just an opportunity now. while we're together. Okay. Well, thank you all. Anika, I'm going to let you take it from here.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. This has been incredible. Just want to talk about a few next steps. I see some of y'all have already been in the payment form, so yay for that. Let me just share my screen quickly so that I don't miss anything. Okay, so first of all is the feedback survey, which would love if y'all would be able to fill pretty quickly. While your thoughts are still there. If you want to grab the QR code, or Josh, if you can put the link in the chat for me, that'd be great too. Very brief survey. Another next step is for us, we're continuing the roundtables, and like some of the observers here tonight who are going to be on other roundtables, feel free. You all received links, and we'll send it to you again. Of the various roundtables that are taking place. So feel free to come and observe others. That said, all of the roundtables will be on a playlist, including this one. And, as soon as it finishes downloading, will be in a playlist on YouTube. So you have this slide deck. So you'll have the link to that playlist as it continues to get populated. We're just about being transparent. Our plan also is to share back input via email after all the roundtables are completed. I have to be honest, I don't know what that form is going to look like, but just to acknowledge that there's been this group of 36-ish people who have been involved in this process. Part 1 of the application will launch in late May, actually May 20th. And if you have any continuing questions for us, you can always reach us. You've got our individual emails on this slide deck, and then grants@weststaff.org with any questions along the way. I have to note that last night a few folks said, and wrote in their surveys, even if I'd love to be a part of some type of steering committee, some process, some support mechanism for applicants. We're thinking about our accountability from that point of view, of having during the life cycle of the grant, having some kind of council that we as WESTAF are accountable to say, this is what's been happening in maybe we meet quarterly. This is what's been happening. This is the feedback we're getting, for us to get some questions from that council, and be able to be responsive. So within this context of the institution, we're doing, everything that we can think of to make this an equitable, accessible process. And so please feel free to call us on things so that we can be better. But thank you so much for your time, for your wonderful, wonderful feedback. We're here, we're around, and we look forward to, going further in this process with the support of your feedback. So thank you, and have a good evening and afternoon. Good night.
Thank you
Thank you,
all.
everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.